Boom! All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be exposing the truth about California's legal system. Let's get this one started. Here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
Look, a business can give you everything you want in life. Prestige, wealth, freedom. It can also take everything away from you. This show is for those who are willing to take that risk. These are the real life stories of entrepreneurs. But before we start, I have one small favor to ask. Please leave a comment. It can be advice, critiques, tips, feedback, or share this with someone because your engagement is the most valuable and most powerful form of social currency. So thank you, and welcome to another episode of Business Bros.
Business Bros. He went from getting fired from radio to producing a groundbreaking HBO documentary. This advocate turned his pain into purpose, building a legal support system that's changing lives across California. So let's welcome to the show the man behind TitoParaTi, Mr. Tito Alvarez. Just like that, we get started. Tito, welcome to the show.
Hey, I am definitely honored to be here in your show. Hernan, what you're doing is, I did mention to you off camera, what you're doing, brother, is commendable. And, I'm a businessman for many, many, many years. I don't want to say how many because then you realize my age. But overall, I would have more of this broadcasting quality content, Hernan, because especially these days, a new entrepreneur, even though they have everything available for them in the new era, the internet era that I didn't have it back when I built up my businesses. Your kind of guidelines, definitely, it is so needed for the new entrepreneur to minimize the mistake we all did. But if we have the guidelines and basically the angles that many times you provide through your show, then that help the new entrepreneurs. And before I go ahead with it, I'm going to take the liberty, Hernan, in talking to your audience and let them know, when I heard Hernan's podcast, I said, wait a minute, and I check out. It is so important, and this is to your audience, that you will be able to rate Hernan's show, Business Brothers, because the more you rate it and the more good comments, and he's not paying me to tell you this. I am just telling you, credit to whoever credit deserves. He's doing something very, very essential for the business people, especially the new entrepreneurs. But the only way Hernan will be able to get across more on the audience is by you making the right comment. I went ahead and put 5-star on him. Because contents like this, in all honesty, brother, content like this, the new business men and women, especially on this era, they need it. So you should back up this great guy. He has great intention. I really commend your podcast, brother.
I appreciate you. Thank you for all the kind words. I mean, at the end of the day, it's something that I love to talk about. So to hear people's stories and what you're up to and how you're helping people, I think for one, on a very selfish level, I get to do that every single day and learn from all these different entrepreneurs. And on the plus side, like it's public, so everybody else gets to do the same thing. There's so many entrepreneurs that come on the show that maybe it's a perfect opportunity for you to invest in. Maybe it's a perfect vendor for your business. Maybe it's a perfect partner or collab that can really work out for your entire venture. You never know. But every day it's something a little bit different. And if you give yourself the opportunity, that's where things change. Tito, take me back, man. But take me back to the 80s when you first started TitoParaTi. Maybe you were talking about technology maxing out as radio was giving you the exposure that you were looking for. What got you started in this space?
Well, you try to make it a long story short because we're a little bit of time. It's and this is good for your audience, so they'll know that back in the 80s, I actually the late 70s, long time before you were born. I covered for HBO a documentary that I was in New York back then. I came to Los Angeles, actually to the Central Valley. You're in California, you're in San Diego, so you know about Fresno. So HBO gave me a whole crew. I felt so important, brother, because I was basically, I had my degree in broadcasting from my hometown in the Caribbean, but overall, I was basically new in the broadcasting business. When I say new, less than 5 years. But anyway, for whatever reason, I was fortunate enough to head a documentary in the Central Valley area. And the documentary, my brother, something happened that changed my life. The name of the documentary was "You and the Law," and it carries on a documentary series different things that happen to people that the law could have been able to protect them, but for whatever reason they had no idea that the law was protecting them. Bottom line, 5 farm workers, Hernan, under the ages of 30, got chopped like chopped liver by a defective machine. But the reason why my producer director mentioned assigned me that kind of a coverage story was because there was a lot of things that happened through the process. They never had there was no social media back then. They never have media exposure. They did not let the family be interviewed by the media. And all of a sudden, 5 young people lost their lives because of somebody else's negligence and some unethical people behind. The owner of the farm, as well as some attorneys that were very dishonest, end up giving to the victims, the family of the victims, brother, less than $50,000 each. That was $1 million settlement minimum on those times. So when I interviewed the widows and when I really saw what happened, those 5 families that they completely destroyed the future because I remember one of the widows, Victoria, she had only a 2-year-old kid. That kid, no father now. They have to hustle like there's no tomorrow. The future of those families were completely devastated. So when that happened, and I started interviewing different other farm workers, I realized, Hernan, that it was not because of the system. Of course, they're always unethical people. But if those people would have known the rights, would have known that they have the right, and I remember the landlord was actually intimidated them. They tell them that you have to sign this before we give you the $50,000 and you have to get the hell out of the United States. If you come back, we'll call immigration, we'll deport you. And you believe that, brother? It's amazing how people, many times, especially our people, I have so much respect for my people because they come to this country, brother, to work hard. They don't want anything given to them. They work everything. They work 2 and 3 jobs, and then being treated like that. So there was something that happened that I made a promise to the Almighty and to myself to use my broadcasting abilities to shed light into protecting the Hispanic accident victims and let them know about their rights. Because when you know your rights, then you'll be able to know how to move into the system, especially, and that's another thing about TitoParaTi, that we want to make sure that they go to a very ethical attorney, somebody that has great credentials.
Now, let me pause there for a second because a couple things. Number one, it's horrible when stuff like that happens, just in general, anyways. But one of the things you pointed out there was that it's oftentimes a lack of education in that community that gives them the opportunity to, I don't want to say capitalize, but not being taken advantage of when a situation like that actually happens. Because at the end of the day, it's not good. A loss of life is a loss of life. There's nothing that's ever going to get that back. But at the same time, we have a litigation system that at least can financially compensate situations when they're acted upon accordingly, to be kind of muscled and pushed into like a $50,000 settlement and use fear as a tactic. Those are all bad things. How do you see that parallel to like what we're seeing today? Because I 100% agree with you. I have family members that naturalized, became citizens. I have family members that have come to this country and worked their butts off, like you were talking about, multiple jobs. They want to be here, not have to worry about some things. But they are, for the most part, a lot of them were very ignorant to the rules and support things that are around them. has that changed? That was, you're talking like early 80s back then. Has it changed now in 2025?
Oh yeah. Well, let me put it this way. I created on the 80s, and after I made that promise to God and to myself, completely changed my broadcasting career into becoming an advocate, because I realized that our people are hardworking, but they need kind of a strong voice to tell them this is where you need to go, brother, sister.
Mm-hmm.
And in all honesty, it's so fulfilling when you change people's lives, or at least give them the guidance that they don't make the mistake that a lot of other people in the past did. So from the 80s to the late 90s, um, Hernan, I created one of the most uh, powerful legal educational programs under the name of Centro de Protección Legal. Back then, we used to advertise, brother, for the teléfonos imposibles de olvidar. I'm giving you a commercial. I can impress you. I can see that you're impressed. But anyway, now the phone number, Hernani, was 222-2222 in California.
Dos veintidós, veintidós,
Dos
veintidós. I
22.
remember those commercials.
Teléfonos imposibles de olvidar. So, of course, it was a great angle for advertising, because people was not going to have any problem remembering our number. But that was not the main philosophy behind. The philosophy behind is that at the time that you get involved into an accident, uh, depending on where you go, it makes the whole difference, Hernan. Many times, unfortunately, people end up in the wrong hands. And you mentioned something that I'm glad that you know about that. Our legal system, for me, and I've been all over the world, the legal system in the United States, second to none. But you have to understand, and you have to have somebody that will guide you through it. And back then, I created that program, but it has very, very, very serious requirements. I don't want, again, what those attorneys did in the area of Fresno, which were unethical. And unfortunately, and I'm not coming here to your great show to badmouth attorneys. That's not my point. But not all attorneys are the same, brother. If you have an unethical attorney, or if you have an attorney that sees you as a number, he only sees you, I'm going to make 33% of this guy. Okay. It really, it really revolved my stomach. You know why? Because that is not right. It is. I believe that the universe you can make as much money as you want, as long as you are honest with your customers, and as long as you provide a hell of a service. And this is going for your audience, the new entrepreneur, guys, girls, or not girls, ladies, because that's not properly said there. Whatever business you provide, whatever service or product you provide, make sure, it's very important, that it will build up your customers, the quality of life for what you're providing. If you provide a service or a product that makes people better after they get it from you, let me tell you, the money comes automatically. You just have to understand that everybody gets into business to make money. And the last thing they think is in the people that you're providing the service. So remember that is so important. The quality, you have to always, and this is something that I always done, Hernan, and always have worked for me, exceed your clients' or customers' expectations. Whenever you exceed their expectations, brother, just wait, because everything comes to you. So hopefully that I did answer that question. But in the area of, we built up Centro de Protección Legal from the 22222, became the #1 legal educational program. I had over 85 attorneys that was kind of participating in my office, in my program. I divided California, Hernan, into 50 or 60 areas, geographical areas, and each area had an attorney that had the exclusivity. So in the same token, then automatically when people call the 222 to my central number, I used to have over 40 operators
Yeah, yeah.
working
You had
24
one of
hours.
the killer lead
I'm telling you,
generation
it was
services of all time during that era. I like I said, to this day, I remember that commercial.
really
I was a kid that
that
back
makes
then
me feel
hearing
that makes me feel good.
Dos 22. Like it was good. Like it was a great way to do some of that lead gen. Let me ask you
Yeah.
about building trust, because working with Hispanic people, being Hispanic, like you don't trust everybody. You might hear people out, but you don't trust everybody. And there's certain topics you don't even talk about at the table, right? Like there's certain
Exactly.
cultural aspects of it that you have to build that trust. You've been able to do that in the Hispanic community. What's your secret to that authentic communication? Something that helps you really make a dent like you did in those underserved markets?
Well, and that's a great question, Hernan. And that goes for your audience. Always remember one thing is that um, when you provide something of quality and that will enhance people's life, it will protect people of something that in the past they didn't have, and perhaps many make mistakes. One of the things that identified us, and we became very powerful, not only in front of the by then, Hernan, there were over 12 million Hispanics in California. Today, very close to 20 millions, brother. So,
Mhm.
so back then, one of the main areas where it gave us our credibility was that we we took very serious everyone that called us. I had over 30 operators, Hernan, and the qualification for me to hire those operators were that they really identified with our people. And the beautiful thing about it that all of my operators, they had their aunt or their family or their grandmother that went through hell with the legal system. And I call them ambassadors. I call them representative, not a telephone operator. That's too ugly. I want them to make a difference when you talk to somebody, and this is the way we're taking care of them now, but we try treating them like family. It's like you're talking to your aunt, you're talking to your grandmother, you're talking to your brother. Are you going to try to mislead him or not taking the necessary steps to take care of them? So I have to say that we became number one not because of Tito. I just have the voice and try to get the message. Forget about Tito. My operators, my ambassadors, the people behind that were portraying what I wanted to communicate on the phone in action instead of words. Those, in all honesty, Hernan, that was the key for our success and to get the credibility. Then, on front of the attorneys, check this out, my friend. And this is also it's a two-way it's a two-way street that when we realized the great combination that we created, then we said, hey, I think we'd be doing something right. Um, the attorneys that belong to the program, they had to pass kind of a credential test. If they didn't handle enough Hispanic, because we remember, this was an accident program. Anybody gets involved into an accident, they go to an accident attorney. And this is a big problem, again, without bad mouthing anyone. But if you don't have the right attorney, and this is a statistic, brother, that you're going to love. There are more attorneys in California than plumbers.
No.
I'm not kidding. You can check it out. The Yellow Pages, unfortunately, is no longer there. But
Oh, you know what though? On the plus side, I think those plumbers are billing higher hours now,
I'm
so
telling you,
they're in
I'm telling
competition
you,
with these
yeah,
with these attorneys.
absolutely. But check it out. And the important part here that I want your audience to realize it is that there are 10,000 accident attorneys in California, Hernan. Less than 10 firms in the whole state are litigating firms. It means that there is a very good chance that 9 of every 10 accident victims, they have the wrong attorney in their hands,
Hmm.
because not all attorneys are litigating. And the key thing here, Hernan, about a litigating attorney, those are the one that get you what the law entitles you to receive. The majority of the attorneys out there, you know how to settle their case? Over the phone.
Yeah. So
Okay.
they're
And the insurance company, they always lowball you. You know that.
Yeah. So let's just clarify this so people are aware. The difference
Yeah.
is some of these attorneys are not going to take you all the way to the end of the game. They're going to try to cut the race short as quick as possible so they can cash it in their check and get their 33% and exit.
That really, you know something, brother? It bothers me. It really
Yeah,
bothers. I don't know.
blame
There
you.
is something.
Imagine
There is
the
something that I
yeah.
cannot let happen, and that's one of the reasons I came back to the market, Vinny. At the end of the '90s, they gave me an offer I could not refuse to sell the 222, and my mother, rest in peace, was a very wise woman. They said, never sell your business when it's all the way up here. I mean, never sell the business when it's all the way up here. Don't sell your business when it's coming down.
Yes.
So I did sold the number, the company. Then I retired the name of the company out of the market, not the number, but somebody bought the number. And I made a judgment that I was not going to return back. That's it, my retirement. That was on 1999, and the deal was closed on 2001. So from then on, the funny face of Tito Alvarez was out of the market. So it took my son, which is a PGA director for Warner Brothers, is also a USC graduate. I'm telling you, USC graduate because that's an expensive university.
Yeah, it is. Sure is.
No. But he's a good man. He's a good son, and I'm very proud of him. Very, very brilliant. I don't know where he got the brilliancy from, brother. Could be the mother.
Apple didn't fall far from the tree, apparently.
I don't know. So after 30 years, my friend, attorneys throughout those years knew how to get a hold of me, and many of them are my friend. Tito, you have to get back into the market. Look at how the market is happening. What's happening? And until my son actually told me one day, that was like a year ago, that I got a call from one of the top-notch attorneys in California, which his secretary of the top-notch was one of the operators that you have on quality control back in the 80s. And she told him, my God, you know, the way the market is today, I hope Tito will come back. Check it out. Because, I mean, that guy, she was saying, I think she said something like this. He was very adamant about, you know, you're defending our rights and not, and, you know, Hispanic, they need a voice like that. And then when my soul told me that we should go out to lunch with them because I believe they have the same philosophy that you have. They have the same kind of is a commitment that you have. So isn't that incredible, brother? Then we met this firm. I met some. Have it happened to you, Hernan, that you meet a person, and even though you just meet it recently, you feel like you know them all your life?
Yeah, it's almost like that soulmate dating thing.
Yeah,
like you feel like there's this connection right away. You just know that those puzzle pieces are going to fit.
Yeah, and I met one of the top notch in that firm. I have a lot of respect for him, not because you know he's a top firm in California, is because once you meet that gentleman, you know he's for real. It's Paul Zuckerman, and the firm that we have now, it is Carpenter and Zuckerman. And there was a perfect combination. So I didn't want to go back into the market to have 50 attorneys that have to be fighting and making sure they provide a good service. Because back then in the 80s, Hernan, I had requirements for attorneys, but doesn't matter. Many times my quality control people call them whenever we send them a case or whatever, call them and say how they took care of it. Oh, they haven't even returned my calls. Are you out of your mind? My face is the one that is out there. Every time they see me on the street, they throw me tomatoes or something if I don't do the right thing.
Yep.
So, but the beautiful thing, and the universe always have a way to bring things to you when you want to do it. Now we have one firm that have 36 litigating attorneys. These people don't fool around. They are, they have my respect. And I'm telling you, I've been one of the few people's marketeers here in California that have known more attorneys. Personally, I have known over 1,600 attorneys. I can tell you the good from the bad. And these people, they are right on the money. So, and that was the reason that I came back. Thanks to my son, and thanks to what I know is happening in the market. Hispanic are still getting ripped off. They're
Yep.
getting screwed by the system because, like you said, because they don't know better. So I have a responsibility to fulfill, and I'm very satisfied that I'm doing this again.
So let me ask Tito, there's people every day that are on the road, that are going through life, that are in situations where they might be in need of a qualified attorney, and they want to reach out to somebody who they trust. Maybe they don't speak English, maybe they are Hispanic, maybe they're in that situation. What can people do to get a hold of someone like you, someone who's been in the game, someone who can tell you the difference between an attorney that's going to take you to the finish line and one that's going to quit on you halfway down? What can they do?
Well, exactly. I appreciate that. We have, and that's one of the reason we came back at the beginning of this year. We came back into the market, but it's amazing, Hernan, how many people remember me from the '80s? Okay, so even though we have a new phone number, our company is TitoParaTi.com. It means Tito for you. At the beginning, Hernan, I was not too crazy. My marketing team told me Tito para ti, instead of Centro de Protección Legal. And I said, well, it looks like I'm competing for being, for political or something. I say, no, let's turn the cameras around. Most of the attorneys out there are saying, come to me, I'm the best, I'm the best. What we are doing with the people, with my Hispanic community, is turning the cameras, and I'm here for you. You need me, I am here for you. And the phone number they can contact is 909-909-9090. Our ambassadors, like I'm telling you, they are advocates that will take care of you from beginning to end. And the same way we used to do on a massive basis later, even though now we have one law firm, which is Carpenter and Zuckerman, we follow up with each one of them. So that is the kind of the comfort zone that TitoParaTi will provide to the audience. It means we'll take you by the hand, and we'll hold your hand, and we'll go all the way through. We cannot give legal advice. I'm not an attorney. I'm a legal advocate for legal rights of the victim, his accident victim. But our system, our team, we are very proud of the service we provide. Like I told you, I want to exceed the expectation of Hispanics. And when it comes, because in all honesty, Hernan, when you get involved into an accident, you feel overwhelmed. You don't even know what to do, and many times, and that's a problem. Most of the people end up in the wrong hands. I don't want this to continue to happen. And that's one of the key reasons why I came back.
Ladies and gentlemen, look, at the end of the day, you're going to need help if you get in a situation like that. Every aspect in life, I believe there is coaching for. If you're in a bad relationship, there's therapy and coaching for that. If you're an athlete, there's coaching for that. Why not on the legal side? Why is it that you have to have some sort of legal thing that goes on, and then you're trying to walk through this thing blindfolded? You need legal advocacy help, and Tito and his team are there to help you guys do that. Vet you with qualified attorneys, people that are going to help you get to the finish line, people that are going to give you that 5-star service, hold your hand all the way through. Telephone number 909-909-9090. You can go to his website, TitoParaTi. That's TitoParaTi.com. Tito, thank you very much for being on the program today. I love what you're doing, helping people, especially those that desperately need the help. Because at the end of the day, that situation you shared at the beginning, $1 million settlement and coming down to like 50 grand. No. At the end of the day, you're trying to bury the loved one. You're trying to get past whatever you need, and I understand that. And the sad thing is, especially in our culture, people get those checks and think they can just walk away and never even know how much more was out there available for them to really change their lives. I was in the insurance business for a long time, and for that I always talk about how insurance is a love product. Those are for more educated people. In other words, if the Hispanic company or culture also was aware of this and it was sold to them properly, understanding that it is a love product, more people in my culture would buy these products as well. But since they don't, there's nobody there advocating for them, teaching them, getting them in that situation. They struggle when things like this happen, and this is why you have car washes in the corner and you have GoFundMe accounts when things like this happen.
There's just one more thing, if I have your permission.
Go for it. Go for it.
Short. But you mentioned it. I'm following up on something you observed, and you're pretty sharp when it comes to this. It is that the thing that bothers me too, and that's one of the reasons that I wanted to shed light in that people understand their rights. Hernan, 80% of the settlements that people are getting today, by the end of they see a big $100,000 check. Oh my God, I have never seen this before. Yeah, they sign up. They have no idea that could have been $1 million, but it's not $1 million to hit me. I need the money. I'm talking about a realistic truth. Perhaps that's redundant, but the reality of the matter is when the majority of the settlement that they're getting today is not enough, at the end of the second or third year, Hernan, that money that they got on that settlement went already in medical bills. And that person is still messed up for life and is going to even have to declare themselves in bankruptcy because they need, they cannot go back to work because they're all messed up. And the settlement at the beginning, what they thought it was a big settlement, it just disappeared in 3 years.
Yep.
And
turns out to be not
that's
enough.
The reason that you need an attorney that can calculate, okay, this person, the injuries of this accident is going to screw up. He will never be able to go back to his work. He will be always disabled to a point that he won't be able to take good care of their family. That's why many times when you hear 5 million, 10 million, you say, oh my God, that's exaggeration. Brother, that is not even sometime enough in order to cover after the injuries that were caused by that accident. Hopefully I didn't took too much of it.
No, you're right on. And that's at the end of the day, it's experience. It's what the wisdom comes from just being in that field for so long. You meet clients, and it's not just the upfront. You see them through the litigation process, and then you become lifelong, friends that you see basically what happens in their life when they can't function the way they were prior to their accident. It's just
that hurts. That really hurts.
It does. All right, Tito. Well, thank you very much for coming on the program. Ladies and gentlemen, his website one more time, TitoParaTi.com, TitoParaTi.com, TitoParaTi.com. Telephone number is 909-909-9090. Tito, thank you very much for being on the program. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace. And we're out.
Thank you.
It's over. Go home. Is your business in need of marketing? Try starting a podcast, but not just any podcast. Podcast like a pro. We can show you how to take your business from being invisible to becoming a brand people trust. Go to www.businessbros.biz